Dear students, welcome back to the prose and poetry class. As we have begun the chapter, The Selfish Giant, just I would like to remind you what we had studied in the previous class. We are seeing the main character of the lesson is the giant who has got a beautiful garden. And the children used to go and play into that garden because the garden was so beautiful. It had a beautiful green grass, many fruit trees, and which had also many flower plants. And seasons used to change one after the other. And the birds, when they sang, the children used to stop their game and listen to the sweet music which the birds used to sing. The giant had gone to visit his friend Cornice Ogre, and he had stayed with him for 7 years. When he came back, he saw that the children were playing in his garden, but he was very unhappy to see because he was very selfish. Therefore, he shouted at them that this garden belongs to me and it belongs to me, and nobody has got right to play in my garden. So he made a wall around and put a notice board: trespassers will be prosecuted. That means nobody is allowed to enter into his garden. Therefore, the children were chased out from the garden. They did not have chance to play into the garden. And he was so harsh towards them. The children were very sad. They went around the garden. They could not enter in because he had made walls around it. So they were very sad, and they used to remember the good things that they had in the garden. Now I read for you the next paragraph. How happy we were there, they said to each other. Then the spring came, and all over the country there were little blossoms and little birds. Only in the garden of the selfish giant it was still winter. The birds did not care to sing in it as there were no children, and the trees forgot to blossom. Once a beautiful flower put its head out from the grass, but when it saw the notice board, it was so sorry for the children that it slipped back into the ground again and went off to sleep. The only people who were pleased were the snow and the frost. Spring has forgotten this garden, they cried. So we will live here all the year. The snow covered up the grass with her great white cloak, and the frost painted all the trees silver. Then they invited the north wind to stay with them, and he came back. He was wrapped in fur, and he rode all the day about the garden and blew the chimney pots down. This is a delightful spot, he said. We must ask the hail on a visit. So the hail came every day for 3 hours. He rattled on the roof of the castle till he broke most of the slates, and then he ran round and round the garden as fast as he could go. He was dressed in grey, and his breath was like ice. So, my dear children, here what we are seeing is the season changed all over the country except in the garden of the giant. The spring came, Before spring was winter, after winter, spring came in all over the country. But in the garden of the giant, the winter remained. Winter did not go away from the garden of the giant. So, one day, a flower slipped out to see what is the situation of the garden. And when it saw the notice board which was written, trespassers will be prosecuted, it slipped back again and slept. Snow and Frost were very happy because they could be there in the garden throughout the year. So the snow covered the grass with white cloth. It was just looking as if a piece of cloth is a soft cloth, a loose cloth is covered all over. And frost came, and then they invited the north wind to stay with them. So when the wind blows from north, we always say it's going to be a very, very cold season. So when the wind blew, it brought together with that hailstone, and it hit against the building of the giant, and the slates, most of the slates which was there on the top of the building were completely broken. And the hail went around and could be very happy there. And the hail was breathing ice. So what we see is the entire garden was very, very gloomy and very, very sad. Though outside the garden, everything was beautiful, nice, and happy. Except in the garden of the giant, where the things were very, very gloomy and things were very sad. Birds did not sing, flowers did not come, except snow and frost. Nothing was happy. So, dear children, I have explained to you this paragraph. Please read and try to understand the explanation which I have given to you. Thank you. We'll continue in the next class.